In episode 2, we talked about characters and what they do for a story. In this episode, we're going to talk about characterization. So characterization is what makes a character a person. Rather than just describing them physically, like you would a chair that the protagonist is sitting in, this is, along with the physical description, the why. So in dialogue, why do they talk that way? When they're performing an action, why do they do it? What's their motivation? Why do they do it at this particular time? Why not another? Their reactions. I scream at a spider one way, you scream at a spider another way. And we both have reasons for this. Or even just some exposition. You can tell us a little bit about this character's background. So the key to a good story is having these characters that are full people. To do this, as a writer, you're going to need to know them as people. You're going to really need to know what makes them tick. And to help us get into kind of the depth of these characters, we've got a character profile to take a look at. This character profile worksheet can be for your protagonist, sidekick, or any character in the story. First and foremost, give your character a name. Often writers get those "What Baby Names Mean" books as inspiration. Whatever you choose, make it something memorable that fits the character's personality or background. Charles Dickens was a master of this. No one will ever forget Miss Havisham and her mansion frozen in time at the moment she was left at the altar. One thing to watch out for when naming your characters is to never have two names that are too similar, as readers will get confused. I'm looking at you, J.R.R. Tolkien, with your Saurons and Saurumans. In fact, it's a good idea to even have each character with a different first letter for their name. After the name, answer the questions to each of the fields of the character's makeup. What are they like physically? What environment did they grow up in? What are their emotions like? How smart are they in different fields? What are they like spiritually? What do they do with their free time? Do they have free time? How do they fit into the social fabric? And, importantly, how do they fit into the story with the other characters? If they don't fit at all, this character might be better saved for a different story altogether. Most of these questions are pretty obvious unto themselves, but there are a couple I do want to go over in more detail. The first is the alignment question. Alignment is a good way to predict your character's actions in any given situation. You may have seen this two-axis system from time to time describing characters from Avengers or Game of Thrones, but it goes all the way back to 1977's original Dungeons & Dragons basic set. It describes whether your character is lawful by sticking to a particular code, neutral, or chaotic, and also whether this character is good in looking out for others, or neutral, only cares about himself, or evil, he genuinely wants bad to happen in the world. Another personality type is the Myers-Briggs test. This was created by a mother-daughter psychologist and author team in the early 20th century. It is a great way to get to know yourself as well as your character, seeing how you interact with people as an introvert or extrovert, if you're more objective or subjective, whether you work more from feelings or thinking, and how empathetic you are. Links in the info below will take you to descriptions and examples of each Myers-Briggs type, as well as a sample test you can try out for yourself. This worksheet also contains a character Bible, which is a great way to keep track of everything your character has done. Write down everything you're expecting this character to do, and as you write down everything that the character does. This may seem like a lot of work, but if you're getting into a multi-book series, you're going to really want to know what happened in Book 1, Chapter 3. Without this, you're going to have to do a lot of research and go back on it. There's a lot in this character profile, although I have seen longer ones. To be honest, you don't actually have to fill this out. The trick is that you could fill it out if you needed to. Know your characters well. Know their demeanors. Know what reactions they're going to have in given situations. Know what possessions they have, what they want to have, and why they like this style. Through this knowledge, you can go into depth with characterization. Give little tidbits throughout the story in dialogue, in actions and reactions, maybe even a little bit of character description. The moral of the story is, have memorable characters. Have somebody who's going to stand out, be interesting. Somebody that the audience is going to take with them for the rest of their lives. If you can do that, you've mastered character and characterization. That's it for episode 2.1. Writers, keep writing.